All right. Hi, everybody. So my name is Mallory Mazzarella. I'm one of the admission counselors who works with students who are interested in the honors program or have been invited to join the honors program. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have most of our panelists, and we may have a couple, or most of our participants, we may have a couple people joining us late. But I'll go ahead and turn things over to Dr. Woelk and let her introduce herself and get us started.
Hi, I was trying to briefly show my face, although I don't know that I'm doing that.
You are. It's on.
I am? Okay,
Yes.
Great. Hello, I'm Emma Woelk. I am a professor at St. Edward's University, and I am also the director of our honors program, which is, I think, why everyone is here to learn a little bit more about. And so I just wanted to go through some informational slides with you, talk to you about our program, how it's structured, and tell you a little bit about some of our current classes and most importantly, some of our current students. We'll hope you'll be among them very soon. And when we will have time at the end to ask questions. So if you have questions while we're going, if you could drop them in the Q&A, we'll take as many as we can when I get to the end of the presentation. Hopefully everyone is ready to get started. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize my face so I'm not blocking anything in the slides, and I'll reappear at the end of the presentation. So what is honors education? You'll see at this slide we have the mission statement of our program, and it reads, the honors program at St. Edward's University empowers high achieving and curious students to create a community of learning, explore enduring questions, and engage in research and creative scholarship. And this really encapsulates a lot of the different stages of our program, that it's made up of courses that are offered especially to students, that it includes the creation of a community, beginning with the living community that freshmen, first-year students participate in, but that continues in various forms throughout your time at St. Edward's. And then it really culminates in the chance to do individual research or creative work with a faculty member of your choice. And that culminates in the senior thesis, which is a key part of our program and something that a lot of students really see as one of the highlights, not only of the honors program, but their time in college in general. So why choose to be an honors student? First of all, one of the first things you'll notice when you register is that we have a number of courses that are only open to honors students. They tend to be smaller and on more specialized topics. This doesn't mean that you're sequestered from the rest of the students. You have most of your courses with the general student body, but you do get the opportunity to take special courses and be a part of our living learning community. You get a lot of individualized support from myself, from our honors success coach, from people who work at places like our Office of Fellowships that have a number of funding opportunities available. Many of them are specifically for honors and high achieving students that do things like fund summer scholarship, summer service projects, etc. Being a part of the honors program also offers you an academic home on campus. You only live together your freshman year, but we have an academic center in Holy Cross Hall, which you'll see a picture of in a minute. Where most of your classes will be, where you'll be able to gather. There are comfy couches to study on, and it really is sort of a center of the program on a rather large campus where you always can come together. As I mentioned briefly with the planning, a lot of this planning revolves around what you're going to do outside of school, not only what classes you're going to take. So we do have expanded opportunities when it comes to travel abroad, work abroad, study abroad, service projects that are available specifically to honors students. We also try to highlight experiential learning outside the classroom, having classes where students do things like learn about tax policy and then work with local nonprofits to provide tax services, really hands-on learning. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, the culminating experience for the honors program is the honors senior thesis, which can be research, creative expression, a larger service project. This takes a lot of different forms depending on what your interests are. So as I said, we have a physical home, a physical academic home for you on our campus. You'll see a picture of the outside of our beautiful Holy Cross Hall. one of the oldest buildings on campus, although the inside is newly renovated. We have the honors classroom on the far right, where most of our classes are held, the honors study nook in the center, and my office, along with the honors staff, is just to the other side of that study nook, where we're available to help and advise students. We really try to make everything centrally accessible while you're here. In the middle, you'll see Jacques Desarrier Hall. This is where our freshman living learning community is housed. And on either side, you'll see pictures of some of our current first year students enjoying Austin, enjoying activities on campus. Students not only live together, but I serve as the Living Learning Community Coordinator, which means I work on putting together programming that pulls out some of the content from their classes, translates into service projects, getting to know Austin, and also simply community building activities like common meals or going to lectures and films on campus together. So one of course, the central parts of our program is academics. You begin by taking a seminar in each semester of your freshman year. So if you, right now on your screen, you'll see the 5 freshman courses that we offer right now. You'll end up taking 2 of these, 1 each semester. And each of these also counts for one of the general education credits that you need to graduate. So these are not adding to your overall course load while you're at St. Edward's. And if you look at the titles, you'll see that they range not only in the general education credit that they offer. Many of you will be coming in with some of these already through things like AP and IB, and we want to give you flexibility and make sure that you're getting credits you need to graduate. But they also really differ in the professor's area of expertise and the topic itself. A lot of our pre-med students start off by taking health and disease in the community. Our first year student, who is also the president and founder of the St. Edward's Film Analysis Club, not surprisingly took printed page and silver screen. There's plenty to choose from. And all of these tend to be very, very popular with the students. So that's more or less what your first year looks like when it comes to honors. And later on, you have the opportunity to take a number of other courses, the vast majority of which will also count towards your general education credits. And these include things like Why Batman is the Joker, Seeking Life Balance Through Yoga, Chocolate, and Meditation, Income Inequality and Tax Policy, which I alluded to earlier. And what you'll notice is that a number of these are co-taught. They're taught by 2 professors on our campus, 2 experts in really different fields who come together to teach these courses. That's one of the things that makes these courses very special, and they're unique on our campus. This is the only time students on our campus have the opportunity to teach these highly specialized, to take these highly specialized and interdisciplinary courses with two different scholars. This will fill out most of your sophomore and junior year before you finally come to the independent thesis work that most of the time spans the entire senior year, although some of our students do choose to start this work in their junior year. You'll see a little icon that's our symposium schedule. The end of every semester, all of the students who have completed their year of thesis work will do a presentation for the entire community. They invite friends, family, professors, friends. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of how diverse these projects are, I've included a few little snippets from our current symposium. The symposium will be held online this year, but it is moving forward. We'll also have videos of all of these available, so we can share some highlights with anyone who's interested later on. But if you take a moment to look at these titles, you'll see that we have students who do everything from combinations of literary analyses combined with creative writing. If you look at Ariel Clary's project, we have a couple of students who have created their own video games in our video game development major who are also honor students. We have students in the sciences who do lab research projects that span often many semesters of collecting data. And I've also included here Elizabeth Davis's project, who's a political science student. You can see that there's really a wide array of what shapes these projects take and the kind of work that goes into them. So other than academic work, what do our students do? They do a lot of things. They play sports, they take other classes, they have multiple majors, they have multiple minors. Some of them are in service fraternities, involved in campus ministry. They do everything that most St. Edward students do, but they also get to take specialized courses. They have special opportunities to apply for funding. So a number of our students get funding to do summer research or study abroad, and the university supports that. Many of our students earn internationally competitive fellowships like Fulbright. And all of our students, as I mentioned, spend a year getting to work one-on-one with a faculty member on an individual research or creative project. They also support each other, live together, have a lot of fun, and help each other through the exciting but also sometimes stressful process of working your way through college. And what I've done now is I've highlighted a couple of students, each in a different year of our program, just to give you an idea of some of the things that they're up to. So I'll start with an example of a first-year student and of course move on up to someone who's about to graduate. This is Aiden. He's in his first year. He's the gentleman in the navy blue shirt. Those are students who are all in our living learning community and went on an excursion together to a museum exhibit in Austin. Aiden is a biology major and a German minor. He spends a lot of time going around to screenings of the Austin Film Society and checking out museums like in this photo. And he's also recently applied for Martin Scholars Fellowship, which is a specialized fellowship we have at St. Ed's that guarantees successful applicants 2 years in a row of summer financial support to do basically whatever they want. His vision is to spend his first summer doing intensive German courses and to follow that up by spending a summer working in a laboratory in Germany and having that funded by our university. He'd ultimately like to apply for a program called DAAD RISE after he graduates, which is a program that gives funding to students at US colleges to work in research labs in STEM fields in Germany. This is Arian. He is a second-year student. He is majoring in political science and economics, minoring in French. He's held a number of competitive internships while at St. Ed's, though recently told me that his favorite experience so far has been working as an intern for State Senator Menendez in the 86th legislative session. So you can see him there at the state capitol. He has previously held the Martin Scholarship, which I just mentioned, and used it to first take courses at George Washington University. And this summer we'll be using it to do research. He's also received funding from the Fund for American Studies and from Harvard University to attend the Harvard Public Policy Leadership Conference. He has used some of that funding to put on events on our own campus. So he recently brought together a panel of experts on election polling from places like the University of Texas and various lobbying groups, and he brought them all to St. Edward's to give a presentation for our fellow students, who's really active and also creating experiences for other students, which is something that we really encourage in our honors program. This is Khadijah. She is a global studies major. In global studies, you pick various concentrations. So her concentrations are international business and economics, and the area of the world that she's chosen to focus on is Africa. Fitting with that, she's also a minor in political science. She just returned from Ghana, where she's been researching education policy. She's also received quite a bit of funding from our university, including both the Martin Scholars Program. This, like I said, is 2 years of funding that gives two different summers are funded. That can be something that you spend taking language classes, money that allows you to complete a non-paid internship, etc. She used it to research in Uganda last summer, and she then received the Boren Scholarship, which is a nationally competitive scholarship to continue her research in Ghana. And Katie, who is our senior, you can see she's about to present in a few weeks on her senior thesis, which is on witch trials in Scandinavia. Although she studies history and French and has spent time abroad studying French in France and Canada, she also spent a semester studying in Finland. That's where this photo of her is from. She works on campus as a freshman seminar peer mentor, and she also works in the community as a substance abuse prevention intern at a nonprofit called LifeWorks. She is in the application process both for Fulbright and for a teaching fellowship that would allow her to teach in Spain next year, teach English in Spain. So she's still waiting, but will likely be returning abroad for her first year after she graduates in May. So that's a little bit about some of our current students. We're hoping that you are thinking about becoming one of them. And if you're interested in doing so, just remember to submit your enrollment deposit at my Hilltop. The address is there by June 1. Respond to the participation survey that you'll receive within 48 hours of submitting that deposit, and choose a room in our living learning community. I showed you a photo here, but we do have a video walkthrough of Jacques Tejarier Hall on our website if you're interested in seeing more. It's one of our most popular and most newly renovated dorms. It's really beautiful in the heart of campus. So that's a lot.
Sorry, I want to add something here really quick on the admissions side. So for those of you who are in our program today, who have already been invited to join the honors program, which I think is the majority of you. So you've already been admitted to St. Edward's and you've already decided that, or you've already been invited to join the honors program, which might have been something that came in your admission letter, or you may have received separate communication from the Office of Admission later on inviting you to do that. You can basically go ahead and once you decide you want to enroll at St. Edward's, submit your deposit and submit the survey to accept your place in the program and confirm that that's where you want to live, that's what you want to do while you're a student here. For those of you who maybe are not, either haven't applied for admission yet, whether you're a junior or just a senior who hasn't applied yet, you can kind of apply to be considered or wait to see if you're invited to the program through your admission process. If you have already been admitted and you're interested in honors, but you haven't been invited to join the program yet, there is a supplemental application on the website that you can fill out. Reach out to the Office of Admission if you need information on how to find that, but you should be able to find it by just searching for the honors page on our website. And we'll be happy to consider your application to join the program in a supplemental format as well. All right, that's it. That's all I had to add. I'm going to turn my camera.
Great, thank you, Mallory. That's really, I was just about to say that this is my, this has been a lot of information very, very quickly. Thank you for hanging in there. And this is now the time where we would love for you to submit questions so we know what would be most helpful for you to know, what's on your mind about the honors program, so we can best help you. So thank you so much.
All right, so this is Mallory from Admissions again. Just want to remind all of the attendees who are here, you can go ahead and type in your questions if there are things that you want us to discuss further, and we'll basically be selecting questions to answer live, or we may type an answer back to you one-on-one if it's not something that we are going to answer in front of the full group. So just let us know kind of what's going to be most helpful, what you're still wondering about. I see we have one question already. Basically asking how many of our classes are specific to the honors program. For example, in your first year, would the only honors classes you take be the 5 you mentioned earlier? Emma, do you want to provide some more insight into what a first year schedule looks like?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I see now we now actually have 2 questions. The first one Mallory said is, how many of our classes are specific? In my first year, will I only take those 2 you mentioned of the 5? So the answer is that in your first year, you will have one seminar each semester with other honor students. And in your first semester, you will also have a 1-hour seminar with all of the honors students. So every Friday afternoon, all of you get together with me, the program director, and we have 1 hour together. It's a little bit of a non-traditional class, introducing you to honors, to college, to the tradition of liberal arts, and also it'll be a time to discuss our common theme and our common text, which is the book that all first-year students read. And there's a lot of lectures, films going on campus about that. So it's sort of a place in which we can reflect on those things. So it's really 3 classes for a total of 7 credit hours spread out through your entire first year. And the rest of your courses can be specific to your major, your minor, your interest. Those classes that you take for honors do replace the traditional freshman seminar that non-honor students take. You don't do that. So I hope that answered your question. There's another question already. I'm an athlete. So I'll be living in Desjardins with other athletes. And basically, is that okay? Yes, that is definitely okay. Desjardins is not huge, and it will not prevent you from participating in any of the events. So that's from, oh, okay. Great. And then the next question is, what is the experience like for transfer students? I'll be transferring in the fall after 2 years at a community college. This is another really excellent question. And I, at the end, I can give everyone my email address and we can talk further. We've had quite a few transfer students. The experience is a little bit different. You don't live in the learning community with the freshmen who are brand new to college. And so you get to jump right into some of those courses that I showed earlier, like medical ethics, why the Joker is the Batman, and all of the social experiences that are open to non-first years are open to you. I'd also be happy to put you in touch with some of our current transfer students, and they can tell you a little bit about the courses that they took, and sort of what their experience has been like jumping in as a transfer student. And you can also feel free to follow up if that didn't help.
I'll also say from the admission side, transfer students come into the university from a variety of different, levels of college coursework that you might have completed before. Your experience in general, kind of academically at the university, is going to depend a lot on the amount of credit that you're bringing in and what you still need to complete on our campus. But the short answer is exactly what Emma said. We're happy to have you in the honors program, and we'll kind of work with you to basically allow you to pick up at whatever point is appropriate for the amount of courses that you've already completed.
And there's a follow-up that says what the courses look like for transfer students. And so you do take, most transfer students are not here for 4 full years. You do take an overall lower number of courses if you're coming in, say, as a junior who's accepted into the honors program. And that it is sort of a truncated version of our program where you take, for example, why Joker is the Batman and roots of mathematics, if you're a math person, 2 courses in your junior year, and then you get to jump right into the thesis project. How many minors can you have? Asked somebody else. There's not an official limit. I think that 2, depending on how large your major is, tends to be the most, just to fit in all of your hours. I do think we have a student this year who is lined up to be a triple major and an honors student. So it depends on what you want to take on and the size of those majors and minors.
And to add to that, you'll have some guidance once you enroll from your success coach, who is basically somebody who's there to work with you as an academic advisor, but also to help you plan your full 4 years on our campus. And so you can go ahead and start exploring different areas of study, whether that's majors, minors. You don't have to commit to a specific program right away. So I would encourage you to start taking classes in the areas that interest you at the beginning. And then as you've spent time on our campus, gotten familiar with what those degree requirements look like, and also just gotten familiar with what your experience is going to feel like on campus and how much you want to take on, then you can make informed decisions about what you officially want your major, minor, second major, second minor, any of that to be. But that's something that you can figure out along the way, and you'll have support in doing so. I also want to highlight a couple of other questions. So we have a question from an international student who's basically asking, do you think students will be able to come and enroll at the university? I just want to kind of blanket say, for any questions that are specific to kind of your general enrollment at St. Edward's, you have an assigned admission counselor who's there to help you with all of these questions. And so whether you've already applied to the university or not, feel free to reach out to us, to the Office of Admission generally at basically admit@stedwards.edu. So it's ADMIT at STEDWARDS.edu. We can answer questions about kind of general admission and things like that for you. So especially for international students or those who are wondering about how the coronavirus or something like that might affect their enrollment, please follow up with us after this presentation and we'll be happy to give you more specific information. And so Emma, I'll turn things back over to you. We have some questions about class size in the honors program, as well as course registration for honors.
Yes, and sorry, I was just typing an answer about registration that I hadn't sent yet. So Morgan asked if the honors registration is at a different date. You'll do your registration with the honors specific success coach at whichever orientation session you choose. So you do register at the same time, although in the future, once you're on campus as a freshman, for example, signing up for second semester classes, and then in the future until you're a senior, as an honors student, you will always get to register 1 hour earlier than all other students in your year, not only for honors courses, but in general. So it is a way to get preference into popular courses. How many freshmen are in the honors program? This freshman class has 65.
We expect for the incoming freshman class, the honors program to be about 70 to 80 students. It does vary a little bit from year to year, but it's roughly 10% of the freshman class each year that ends up participating in the honors program. So it's a selective group. It's relatively small, but as we've kind of mentioned, you're taking some of your classes exclusively with honors students and then other classes where you're part of the general student population. So it's a nice balance where you get that small group, but you're not isolated from the rest of the freshman class either.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we really try to do that is by building in honors experiences around the common theme. So the common theme is built around the text that all freshmen read over the summer or are asked to read. This year, it's about data. It's I am not really a math person, and it's about everything from writing algorithms and how that impacts social justice and prison reform to Cambridge Analytica and what Facebook advertises to you. And we'll be doing a number of activities that are honor specific, but they're reflecting on the same events that all first year students at St. Edward's are going to go to. So we really try to make it a community within a larger community and not a community isolated from that larger community. And Liliana asked, how does the honors experience differ for students living on campus and those who commute? We do have a couple commuter students every year. And what we try to do to make that experience equitable is we make the dorm common space open to those students. So you may not be living in Jacques Desjardins with the other LLC members, but any craft night, game night, film screening, lecture that we host in there, that's open to you. Any more casual hangout that students are doing is open to you. You can use that space to study. You can use that space other than for sleeping for all of the things that another student would on campus. So we try to make those experiences as similar as possible.
We also have a question, or sorry, I think that's
Sorry, I
been.
keep messing up the PowerPoint.
All right, are there additional questions that anyone wants to bring forward? Okay, so we have a question about kind of the general class sizes on campus. So overall, we tend to keep our class sizes really small. The average class size for the university as a whole, so all kind of general student population classes, is about 18 students. And so we have a really good opportunity for you to get to know your professors really well, be part of those class discussions, and get to know other students in your classes as well too. Within the honors program, the class sizes will kind of depend on the specific class that you're taking, but they tend to be a little bit smaller on average. I don't know if you have more specific information on that, Emma, but classes will be discussion oriented. You'll have really good opportunities to really interact with the other people in your class and learn from your classmates and from your professor in a relaxed kind of discussion oriented way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a statistic because it's so different for each department and the types of classes you're talking about. But as an example, for a first year student, if you were in a freshman seminar that a non-honor student took, those are between 22 and 25 students. And in honors, those are between 10 and 13. So they are significantly smaller. Okay, and then from Mauricio, what kind of scholarships do honors program students have access to? There are a couple different things that run through our Office of Fellowships. And so I think Dina is taking some questions about general academic scholarships. We do also have funding through the Office of Fellowships for things like summer research that I mentioned. And we also, sorry, I'm trying to read the Q&A and distracted myself. Sorry, guys.
It's okay, I've got it covered.
Okay, thank you. We also have students who apply through funding through the NCHC, which is a national collection of honors programs and honors colleges that St. Edward's is a member of, and they give specific scholarships as well. So we have students who apply, for example, to get a year of thesis funding through them, and that is only open to honors students.
I also want to add that we consider all of our freshmen who are applying to the university for merit scholarships based on what you've already done in high school. So the rigor of your curriculum, your grades, things like test scores are all taken into consideration. Many of our students who are invited to join the honors program, pretty much all of our students who are invited to join the honors program are likely qualified for those merit scholarships as well. And so our merit scholarships for this year for our incoming class range all the way from $10,000 per year up to $24,000 per year. And our honors students tend to be in the upper portion of that. So somewhere in the 18 to 24,000 range typically. So there's a lot that you might be qualifying for through the admission process as well. And then everything that Emma said about kind of applying for additional research funding and fellowships and grants while you're a student at the university. All right, do we have any other questions? Feel free to type anything else in that you're wanting to know more about. One thing that I think might be helpful to discuss that I know came up a little bit in the slides would be balancing study abroad with being an honors student. Emma, I know you highlighted a lot of students who have participated in study abroad. Is that something that students typically are able to do, or can you talk a little bit about what that might look like for students?
Yeah, we really try to incentivize study abroad for our students. We think it's really valuable, and we do that both financially by trying to make scholarships available and to provide support for students who are applying for competitive fellowships, and really walk through applications with them, make them aware of application deadlines, that scholarships exist, what funding you can get from the government, etc. But we also offer reductions in honors credits. So if you go and study abroad for a semester, that takes off one honors course from your total degree plan. So that's something that we really, really want to encourage. We don't want anyone to feel unable because of the number of honors credits they need to get because of how specialized our courses are. And we also want to make sure that people feel like they have access to help in applying for scholarships. So that is a big reason why so many of our students do it, that we do offer a lot of support in getting these fellowships and getting students funded opportunities to work and study abroad. And we also take that into account when we look at their academic program and make sure that we're not holding them back.
And that's something that overall, as students are participating in the program, we want to make sure that the honors program is something that enriches your experience at St. Edward's. It adds depth, it adds flexibility to explore areas that you might be interested in for students who are, prepared to kind of take their work to the next level when they get here. We don't ever want it to be something that's, just harder for the sake of being hard or adding time to graduation or anything like that. We want to make sure that the program is something that's there to support you and help make your experience better, rather than something that adds extra requirements or is restrictive. So, whether that's study abroad or participating in research on campus, we want to make sure that we're being flexible where we can and giving you an experience that's going to be a positive one while you're on our campus. All right.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, to add to that, say that if you look at the overall hours, for a lot of students, they're able to complete the entire honors program by really only doing 8 to 10 additional hours, because they're able to overlap so many of their credits that we require with general education and even sometimes with their own major. So if you have seen the number 24, anywhere the overall 24 hours you need, much of that overlaps with other requirements you need for graduation. And we do try to make this a bonus and sort of a highlight of your experience, not a burden.
All right. Any final questions? Anything additional that we want to know more about? If there aren't any additional questions, I'll go ahead and provide some information to all of you. I don't think I can type it in the chat without there being a question asked, but if you want to reach out to us for additional information, one more time, my name is Mallory Mazzarella, and so you can email me directly if you want to. It's my first initial and the first part of my last name, so it's MMAZZAR at stedwards.edu. And then Emma, if you want to provide any information for you to follow up with us, or you can also contact the Office of Admission more generally at admit@stedwards.edu. So just ADMIT at stedwards.edu. So feel free to follow up with us if you have additional questions or more individualized questions that we didn't get to.
And I am EWOELK, EWOELK at stedwards.edu, and I'm also very happy to field any questions you have.
All right, I think we've exhausted all of our questions. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to be here and learn more about the honors program. We will be very happy to hear from you one-on-one if you have additional questions, and we really hope to see you as freshmen at St. Edward's in the fall.
Yes, thank you all so much. And yeah, see you in August. Thanks.